Hi, I'm Gary Hamel, and I'm here today with Colin Price and Scott Keller talking about their new book, Beyond Performance. You know, every few years, every decade or so, somebody comes along and writes a book purporting to tell us how do you build a company that can kind of outperform the average or can perform over a longer period of time. In Search of Excellence, Peters and Waterman, Michael Porter's famous book on competitive strategy, and then, of course, Jim Collins' Built to Last. And maybe just start by telling me about, what's different in this whole concept of organizational health. How does it depart from all of the wisdom heretofore on how do you build a really successful company?
The core notion that we've tried to explore is to make the soft stuff hard, right? So to apply the same degree of rigor and analytical insight to the behavioral part of organizations as academics and consultants and leaders themselves have to the more strategic elements of organizations. And that's essentially what the book is about, bringing analytical discipline and rigor to a deep understanding of organization behavior.
Then you take someone like John Kotter. He's a guy who wrote on change in 1995. I think he wrote kind of what is the seminal work on change management. He reported that 30% of change programs succeed. You look today, what percent of change programs succeed? Roughly 20, 30,000 different books, periodicals, etc. in that period of time. And you find out today, guess what? 30% of change programs succeed. So nothing's really changing in practice. About 10 years ago, we stepped back and we said, well, what can we add to this equation? What if we were able to look at hundreds of thousands of managers and how they work over a long period of time? And that's the research we set out to do. And with that research, we think we have a more empirical and evidence-based view of what really matters. Performance is very much about, that's our strategy, that's the big goal we're going for that we can measure in financial terms. Here's the set of initiatives we're going to go after. So here's the Salesforce stimulation program, the lean production program, whatever bundle of things they're going to do to get to those numbers. The health side is very much about, hey, how well do we align people on where we want to go? How efficiently do we execute against that, and how effectively? And how do we renew ourselves along the way, keep our energy up, and be able to continue once we even get to that target?
I mean, there are OB departments in business school. There's plenty of stuff that's being written there. I mean, why hasn't that penetrated kind of our thinking about business?
There's two things to get, so to speak, in relation to health. One thing is to get that it matters and what it is. It's a whole nother body of thinking and set of tools to say, how do I get from where I am today to be healthy? Right? So that's another thing where we've put an equal emphasis on, this is the end state. Let's be really clear on what that is, how to measure it. With this work, there is something that we call it the Organizational Health Index, but it is a tool where you can measure quantitatively, you can put a number on how healthy we are, and you can dig into it into the different dimensions. We would argue that that's such an important thing, and health is so important to the long-term sustainability of organizations, that we would aspire to seeing CEOs stand up in front of their shareholders and not just talk about the financial results and the operational results, but talk about, and here's the health of our company. Even in public service and governments, why wouldn't we care about the health of our public institutions?